Welcome back to the Risk On podcast, where we dive into the world of financial markets, geopolitics, and crypto. I'm Arbitrage Andy, and this is episode 8. Today, we've got a fascinating guest, Colton Kirkpatrick, the founder of ZynCoin, the viral meme coin taking crypto markets by storm. ZynCoin has been making waves on social media and in crypto markets, not just because it's a trending meme token, but also for the legal battle Colton had with Philip Morris and how he came out on top. We're going to dive into that as well as explore how Colton is building a loyal crypto community, his thoughts on the state of crypto markets, and his take on the future of meme coins in the current macro environment. Thanks for being with us, Colton.
Thanks for having me, Andy. It's good to be on.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we
Yeah.
have a couple things we want to get out of the way before we dive in.
Yeah. So just a quick disclaimer. ZynCoin, to be clear, not affiliated with Zyn, the nicotine product in any way, or the manufacturers of Zyn. It's a meme coin purely for entertainment purposes, and none of this is financial advice. So just wanted to get that out there.
Absolutely. And I'm going to underline that. If you've been in crypto for a while, you should know the properties of meme coins. So this is not official financial advice, entertainment purposes only. Colton, ZynCoin has got to be one of the hottest meme coins that I've seen in a long time. I see it alongside big ones like Pepe, Whiff, Giga. I know there was another one. I think it was SPX 6900 that absolutely took off in the last couple weeks. Did you ever think that this was going to get this much traction?
Not really. I mean, when I started it with my brother-in-law, we had visions of grandeur. We thought, hey, this could be the next big thing, and we thought as users of nicotine pouches, we were just like, hey, this could really catch. And then
Hmm.
this was back in November 2023 when ZynCoin launched. Previous to that, just a quick background. So I'm a class of 2017 crypto guy. Like
Nice.
most people in their first cycle, I got absolutely shredded in 2017, but stuck with it because I was like, all right, this is cool. There's something here. Like most people, you start with Bitcoin, you start reading the Bitcoin standard, read the
Yep.
books, then you go to Ethereum, then you start checking out altcoins, and you start getting into these various communities. And that's what I did from 2018, 2019. Got a job in the industry, so I was pretty much all in. Um, so fast forward to 2020, 2021. There was and I'm always looking for the different trends that are starting to emerge.
Sure.
Kind of as the cycles start to um, start moving a little quicker. Um, the culture coin meta started to emerge earlier in 2021. Particularly, the first thing I noticed was around Jesus coin.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're familiar with that one,
Yeah.
but it stuck out to me because I'm a Christian guy, and I thought that was really cool, and it resonated. And then I saw that there was like they would host events and spaces on X
Hmm.
where they would like literally have sermons and have like chapels and I was like, this is wild. Like I never thought crypto, could kind of break into this like culture like this. I kind of
Yeah.
just saw it as a place to speculate or to park some money in Bitcoin or something. So that was cool. And then it got me thinking. I also noticed ahead of kind of the political stuff. I remember at the end of the cycle, last cycle, and the elections were coming up, and the 2020 elections, people were speculating on the presidential candidates. There's a lot of action there, and
Hmm.
then it started to kind of emerge again. Trump coin, MAGA meme coin started to emerge. There was different. Every candidate had a coin. The VP candidates. There was Kamala coins. There was derivatives. The Politify ecosystem started to really heat up.
Yeah.
So that caught my attention. And then, so both of those things combined, I was sitting around Thanksgiving dinner with my brother-in-law, and we are like, "Hey, man, this culture coin thing is like really catching on." And there's something to it because these coins, they resonate with a particular lifestyle or a belief system, political beliefs, kind of you name it. And as we see now, there's a lot of different kinds of them. But we both, we're using nicotine pouches, and we're like, hey, there's one cult out there that is absolutely massive. That is, the trend is up and to the right as far as usage goes
Yeah.
for these nicotine pouches. And let's make a meme coin. Like, let's see what we can do with it. Like, let's see if we can bridge the gap between crypto native Zinners and the millions of users outside of it. It seemed like a worthy effort at the time. So that's kind of how it all got started.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the trends with the political coins have been super interesting. I mean, I think it adds, and it had, like you said, it has been interesting to see the meta shift. We had DeFi summer. We've
Hmm.
had a couple different waves of different metas, and I know a lot of people at the moment, particularly the ones that are maybe more biased towards strictly holding majors, what they consider blue chips, have this sort of idea that meme coins are taking the attention away from other projects. In terms of like the broader crypto market, they've become a significant part of the landscape, particularly for retail, despite that volatility. Aside from the cultural implications and sort of the hype that builds around them, where do you see the future of meme tokens in a market that, from an institutional perspective, is dominated by the more established cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, just having been through a couple cycles now, there's all these rotations, like you mentioned.
Yeah,
The last cycle, there was DeFi summer. And then there was the various L1 rotations, and then it became the L2 rotations, and then kind of ended off with the meme coins that existed then. Doge
yeah,
running really hard at the end. So um, uh, when you're kind of paying attention to the industry the way that I do, you're kind of looking for what's the next rotation, or like what are the rotations going to be. Um, and so far, like, meme coins have been the rotation, and and they haven't nobody's rotated out of meme
yeah,
coins. It's just
yeah,
the derivatives keep coming, the memes keep coming. And with the emergence of pump.fun, something like that, where you can launch a meme coin in seconds. I just, it's hard to see how it stops. And I think the people that are holding the bags, the DeFi bags and the DPIN bags, and where's the rotation? Where's the inflow of capital to these projects? Well, I mean, if I'm them, like, kind of look at what's going on with meme coins. Try to. I wouldn't say become a meme coin if you're like
yeah,
some infrastructure or DeFi project, but drink the Kool-Aid a little bit. Get
yeah,
out there and and change up your marketing strategies or branding. Like, that's what people want. And money talks, and there just hasn't been a rotation out of meme coins, and it's hard to see a world in which that this significant rotation kind of happens. So unsure
yeah.
where it goes, but I'm sure the infrastructure projects and the utility coins are wondering when that's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, my chain link bags, the utility the utility coins are down astronomically right now. I mean, my
Oh yeah.
my chain link bag has been softened a little bit with Zyn and Pepe and some of the other ones, which is good to see. And you hope their time comes, as the industry matures, but it is wild to see. The other thing I would note about the project that you and your brother-in-law launched is that you, and I see this all the time on X. You have a reputation as being, an outstanding guy. You launched this the proper way. Over the years, I think a lot of people have been turned off from crypto by, failed airdrops. A lot of the DAOs that have failed. Obviously, FTX was a huge headwind. How did that kind of look from a technical perspective? Like, when you set out to launch this, what were some of sort of the virtues, I guess, or the guidelines that you knew you wanted to launch it with?
Yeah, great question. I'm glad you brought it up, because that is one thing that is really unique about ZynCoin. And I think, like, it's one of the reasons that it took off at the beginning was not because everybody was thinking like, hey, ZynCoin could be this great culture coin.
Hmm.
It's because, like, we launched it in the right way, and by right I mean we fair launched it. So we used a platform called MetaDrop to kind of do the technical side of it. So we punched in the supply that we wanted, and then we had optionality to create wallets for team allocations or marketing allocations, and things of that nature. Like, we could have done a pre-sale or taken on investors of some sort. We didn't do any of that. We didn't do any of that because I just didn't want that negative connotation out the gate
Hmm.
for the project, the only project that I'm ever gonna launch,
Yeah.
and the first project, because I had built my personal kind of journey in crypto is kind of been documented over the years, and I gathered a following on X, just from like, I don't know, being normal and honest and
Interacting.
not shilly,
Yeah.
and not taking tokens or payment to like shill tokens. Like, I don't do any of that. Um, and I never have, and don't plan on it. So I think that resonated with with people when I announced the drop, and announced the creation of ZynCoin and the launch. So that was a big part of it, and something that, like, once you start off on the wrong foot, you can't ever go back from
Yeah.
that. You can't take that away. So while it comes with its challenges, because we don't have a treasury, we don't have a bunch of supply to give out to KOLs or
Yeah.
exchanges, and we kind of we've had to get creative with that. A lot of that has come from my personal supply and generous whales in the whale group that we have to make things happen.
Hmm.
So it's long term largely beneficial because it's fair, it's organic, and I think that's worth something. But also that comes with its challenges too. So I'm glad we did it the way we did. Wouldn't change it, and I think it's largely beneficial in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my personal experience with it, I want to say it came onto my radar maybe 7 or 8 months ago. That was when it was trading, I think around the initial run up. So I think it got up to maybe 6.5, 7 cents. We had a pullback with the broader market. Everything kind of fell back. Kicking myself now when it was trading at 1 2 cents. I should have grabbed more, but I have my long term allocation. I'm happy with it. I'm set with it. I know that in between that initial sell off and the most recent run up that we had, you guys had a little bit of a hiccup with Philip Morris. How did you approach that situation respectfully but firmly? Because in the end, you were able to reach a compromise that allowed the project to continue.
Yeah, for sure. And that was really shocking to get that cease and desist letter from them. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it had crossed my mind that was a possibility, but certainly didn't think that it was going to happen so quickly. But I think the big takeaway from that to me was, number one, a lot of these corporations, um, they're not ready for the trenches, I guess, or
Yeah.
to get into the tokenization of the kind of their consumers, or their products, or what have you. And so when I received that, it was kind of a blow to the project. I was pretty down about it. It was kind of a long 3 months of back and forth with legals. I mean, I had to get a lawyer, obviously,
Yeah.
and pay you know tens of thousands of dollars in legal fees over that time. And that came out of my pocket, and it was just something like, it was addressed to me. Like, it wasn't addressed to ZynCoin. It wasn't addressed to, like, because there
Yeah.
is no company. Like,
Yeah,
how
exactly.
how do you serve something like that to a a project launched on Ethereum, and traded on
Right.
various blockchains? Like, it had my address on it, it had my
Oh,
name on it, so
jeez.
like I was on the chopping block. So thankfully, um, I have a great wife, and she helped you know help me wade through these waters, and we tackled it together.
That's awesome.
um, which is nice. And so what it came down to was, at first it was like, hey, this has to end. ZynCoin has to cease and desist.
Yeah.
And then as we kind of moved forward and had conversations, we were like, all right, if we wanted to do that, we can't. Like, you can't stop the token. Like, the token,
Yeah.
it's just out there. Like, I could never tweet about it again or something, but like, that's not going to stop this from being out there.
Yeah.
Because no, you can't, unless you shut off Ethereum, Solana, and Base. um ZynCoin is going to just be out there on the
Yeah.
blockchains. So I had two options. It was like, comply with their ask and let ZynCoin kind of die, essentially, or get a lawyer and figure out a way to keep ZynCoin alive.
Yeah.
Um, and so the whale group at this point is very supportive. I kind of let them know what was going on, and they didn't all nuke their bags instantly.
Yeah.
So we kind of saw this as a really interesting, um, I don't know if opportunity is the right word, but just like the circumstance is very unique. We have
Yeah.
an opportunity to do something that no other project has done, or like wade through these waters where no one else has gone before. So, um, I, there was a time within that 3 month period where the things kind of changed. I don't know if it was they realized that, you know, how do we, if we wanted to take this to court or something, like how would we do that?
Yeah.
Because it is this decentralized, token project. It doesn't really have a formal company. Um, and so it kind of went from that, the ZynCoin has to cease to exist, to, okay, you guys can keep doing what you're doing, but we just don't want any association,
Yeah.
which is fine, and that's totally their prerogative. There's trademark law out there, and whatnot. And so we didn't completely agree on all the details, but we found a middle ground, and we found a middle ground where we both can coexist. And we don't market that we're a part of, their products, which we never did and don't anyway. But it's
Yeah.
just one of those things like that we had to find a line somewhere, and we did. And I announced that announcement went pretty viral, and I think it was a weight off of the shoulders of me, and
Yeah.
also the project, where now, hey, we've got an ironclad agreement with them, and we have, um, a line that's been delineated, and now that opens up the door to a lot of maybe investors that would have been skeptical, of like, hey, what happens when they crack down on this project? Well, we
Yeah.
have an answer to that, and I think that's really interesting, that we went through it, we got through it, and and now months later, that was back in June when I announced that we had gotten through that. I think the market has taken to it, over time, and it's been largely bullish for the project.
Yeah, it's you don't typically see resurrections like that in this space, right? I mean, granted there's not I don't think there's too many similar, instances to compare it to. Generally, it's like an exchange blowing up or it's like, something that's obviously a scam. But it's been
Hmm.
pretty awesome to see you guys 180 from that and continue the momentum. I mean, look, recently we've seen and I will say, prior to this recent run up, when I look at these culture coins, when I look at meme coins, I always kind of have a pulse on social media primarily.
Hmm.
Granted, I'm in some chat groups where I try to get, kind of a read on sentiment, what people are thinking. But I would say 2, 3 weeks ago, I started to notice more tweets about Zen. I started to notice major influencers. I know we have Will Clemente on X. We have Ansem, who recently tweeted about it. And then you have
Hmm.
Chetty, of course, King of Zimbabwe, who is just like a major, major force on Instagram, on different platforms. I think he's, getting a bit closer to the Nelk boys. So you guys have seen a major sort of influencer influx into individuals that are bullish on this. What's your kind of take on this as a cultural phenomena, and how do you see ZynCoin tapping into that momentum?
Yeah, I mean, it's really the thesis from day one, like manifesting in real time, and it's pretty awesome to see, because it's this cultural phenomenon outside of crypto. And you've got 21 to 35-year-old guys, that use this, um, and then all of a sudden, like as the meme coin phenomenon continues to go up, they are looking to speculate, and looking to speculate on what they resonate with, right? And that's the beauty, I think, of ZynCoin. Like, if you've ever, I don't know if you've ever talked to somebody that uses it and then mentions ZynCoin, like it resonates in a second, like,
Yeah, yeah,
or so I've done that tons of times. And this group of people that are kind of coming into the market, they're, what I call this is like the, I think ZynCoin has a really high bull market conversion rate. So out of the groups of meme coin projects, that are out there, and the folks that they cater to, like, who's most likely to download Moonshot, you know, download Phantom, MetaMask, and actually like pressing the green button, like
yeah,
getting in the trenches. And I think it's finance guys, because they're crypto adjacent.
yep,
I think it's sports bettors, gamblers, guys that are sitting on their couches, like betting on sports all day on Sundays, watching Red Zone. It's crypto traders, obviously. it's frat guys, kind of college level guys that have, especially like they have some disposable income,
Yep.
athletes. I mean, really the entire group of people that are Zinners outside of crypto, they turn to the meme coin craze. Like, what are they going to look at and what are they going to resonate with? Is it like the thousandth animal zoo token? Maybe, could be.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they like cats. Maybe they love Moo Dang the hippo. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the thing that they have in their lip 24/7, like all the time. And then there's a community of thousands of people that um, do the same thing and that are also in this community. So it kind of they all have this in common, and I think it's a smaller group. Like there's more cat owners and dog owners out there, but I think the conversion rate is going to be much higher
Yeah.
as retail continues to flow into the meme coin market.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been crazy to see. I mean, I've seen I saw a video of like some Spanish kids on Moonshot. As soon as I
Yeah,
saw that as soon as I saw that video, I was like, all right, this is international now. I was like, this is wild. Just for clarification, because I think I bought it initially through Dex Screener or MetaMask, if that sounds
yeah.
correct. What exactly is Moonshot? Is that a way to buy it on the different chains like seamlessly?
Yeah, they Moonshot is an app, both Android and Apple iOS, and it's essentially like Robinhood for meme coin trading.
Okay.
It's clean, it's easy to use. The UI UX is great, and you can buy and sell memes with Apple Pay and a credit card. Um,
Okay.
so there's your plug, Moonshot. They're awesome. I love that. I love the product, and I know the guys there pretty well. And Zyn was early on Moonshot. We got listed on Moonshot before they started really blowing up. Because again, like from day one, the challenge has been like, how do I get all the Zinners out there
Yeah.
like into crypto like easily? Because I have cousins and friends that are like, all right, so yeah, this makes sense to me. ZynCoin makes sense. How do I get it? And I'm like, oh, here we go. Here's a
Yeah.
15-minute conversation about download this wallet, transfer here. Oh, if you got an exchange, then you gotta wait for the transfer, then you gotta do this. And now I'm just like, download Moonshot, and it's that easy.
Yeah.
So they've primarily listed Solana tokens. I don't think they've integrated Ethereum tokens yet, but I think that's on their roadmap. But don't want to speak for them. But yeah, we got on there, and thankfully Zyn is on Ethereum, which we launched on Ethereum, but we bridged supply to Solana,
Okay.
which was huge way back in I think we did that in like December of
Okay.
2023. So that was huge for onboarding kind of the the non crypto natives because you can just have them download Moonshot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I've mentioned it to a few people, and as soon as I go down the rabbit hole, like, hey, you gotta, buy Ethereum, transfer it to MetaMask, swap, as
Hmm.
soon as I start that whole conversation, the interest is like gone. Because, look, these are
Yeah,
generally not guys that are like very, very fluent in crypto. It's not like they have, 10 different meme coins. It's like they hear about it, they want to get
yeah.
into it. Uh yeah, I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome that they've done
Well,
it and made it seamless. Go ahead, yeah.
yeah, and the other thing I like about it too is like I've been getting these. I get a lot of videos of like frat guys and golfers like doing cool things with ZynCoin and Moonshot.
Yeah.
Where if you look at our Twitter, I posted recently a couple of videos where guys are like on the golf course, and he's like, yeah, I'll bet you $10 in Zyn that you won't get a par on this hole.
Uh,
And they go through the hole, or I bet you $5 in Zyn you won't go talk to that chick over there. And so I've seen these videos of these guys like using kind
the
of
the
using it like
currency.
Venmo, using it like a
Yeah.
currency, to like do these little small $5 bets, which is awesome. Like that's totally unique. Wouldn't be possible without Moonshot, and I think like this that taps right into the Zen culture.
Yeah.
So it's perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome. I know the other thing that I would highlight, besides the way that you guys launched it, I know you came out with an update. I think that was maybe post Philip Morris for the release of the Comfy collectible can. Definitely was received very well by people. There's a lot of projects that don't necessarily have sort of unique aspects to them. What, how did that kind of come to be? How did you guys even think of that physical product? And in your opinion, has that attracted a substantial amount of new users?
Yeah, so the idea with Comfy, and it's cool. It's a reusable aluminum, high quality aluminum tin that has a bottle opener feature, and it'll also have a ZynCoin kind of integration, rewards integration. So could talk more about that in a second. But um, the idea was because we have this like real life consumer good that people use all the time. Our original thought, like way back earlier in the year, was how do we like create like a marketplace for ZynCoin with people that use Zyn. So like, how do we use ZynCoin as a reward system? And
Hmm.
we were going through that. Then the whole thing with Philip Morris happened, and we were like, hey, it's probably the wrong tree to bark up. To like use real Zyn cans or the code on the cans or something like that. We're just trying to get creative, just brainstorming stuff.
Yeah.
So, fast forward after that, we're like, okay, instead of using their product, which I don't want to do and will not do, it's more like let's just create our own marketplace. Let's create our own product where people can have create a lifestyle brand through this reusable tin and have ZynCoin rewards built in.
Yeah.
So the Comfy can, it's going to be really cool, and it'll be like the other kind of reusable tins out there, plus this bottle opener feature that's completely unique. And then on each can, there's going to be a unique code that is going to you'll link it to your wallet, your crypto wallet. And then so once you purchase that Comfy can, you'll activate that code, and then you'll be able to go to our DApp and start earning ZynCoin.
Nice.
So yeah, it's a really simple kind of thesis on paper. Now the manufacturing world, not so simple.
No, not at all.
It has been wild
Yeah.
to get into that, and it's been just roadblock after roadblock. But I think, like, we really want to push this out. It's going to be really cool. And again, like, yeah, sure, we can stay a meme coin, and we can just kind of bull post on Twitter all day and try and do that whole thing like every other meme coin. Or we're in this unique opportunity to push the envelope and like combine nicotine pouch usage with this explosion, the trend that's continuing all across the world, with pouch usage, any kind of pouch, not just nicotine pouches, and the reusable tin market is also exploding because everybody wants to customize things. They want to have a cool place to store their tins or their pouches. So we were like, let's push the envelope. Let's do something cool. Let's really go for it. So that's what we're gonna do. And stay tuned for more on Comfy. Got some things in the works that are progressing nicely. It's
Nice.
been a little bit of a bumpy ride, but we're getting there.
Yeah. I mean,
It's gonna be cool.
it just makes it that much more unique. I mean, you guys are on your Berkshire Hathaway dividend grind in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's sick. So there's a lot of buzz, no pun intended, right now, about Zyn pricing. I said at the beginning, none of this constitutes formal financial advice. This is just pure entertainment. But a lot of the sayings that are popping out, we have one of them, Zyn to a tin. This is obviously, a reference to pricing, getting to somewhere in the multiple dollars, call it $3 to $6 range. I haven't done the math on it right now. I think it's roughly a $54 million market cap on
Yeah.
ZynCoin, trading around 6 cents today, up 278% this month alone. What are your thoughts on that? Like, have you done the math? Let's just call it a $4 price handle. Like, what
Let's
is
call it
that?
five. Let's call
Call
it
it
five.
call it 5. I love it. What is that market cap? Like, is that 10 billion? Is it 5 billion?
$5 a tin. I think it's like almost
Okay.
5 billion.
So that's realistic.
$5 per Zyn. It's realistic. Look, I mean,
Yeah.
Cardano hit 85 billion last cycle,
Yeah.
and they're still at 12 billion. I think, like right around there.
Cardano, that's pretty dark.
Cardano's dark, right?
Yeah.
And there's so many coins that are just Dino coins like that. You're like, man, how'd that get to that money?
Yeah, it's
So
wild.
and so it's like I have no problem thinking, like, having been through a couple cycles, things get so crazy at
Yeah.
the peak kind of bull market mania. Like, things go so much higher than you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
just as in the bear market, they go so much lower than you can ever imagine. So thankfully, it feels like we're on the bullish side of that. Like
I
we're
think
we're
so.
we're heading into where things just get completely nutty.
Yeah.
And so as into a 10, it's the perfect rallying call. Like it's very possible. I believe we're going to get there, and we're starting to see with the larger accounts coming in, guys like Ansem tweeting that he bought Zyn
That was wild.
just
Yeah.
because everybody he knows uses the product. Like
Yeah.
it's that simple. That's the thesis in a nutshell. And he's got it. He's on board. He gets it. So it's just a matter of time. So we're kind of seeing in real time the thesis play out. And the one thing to note too is this coin is so battle tested.
It
It's
is.
insane.
Yeah.
Like what we have gone through with, I mean, it's almost a year old, which is crazy in crypto
Yeah.
years. That's like, might as well be a decade.
That makes me feel old, man.
Yeah.
That's
You're
wow.
telling me, man. I've
Yeah.
gotten a couple more gray hairs in the last
I
10,
bet.
11 months, and I'm in my early 30s. So, um, I mean, this is a battle tested community. It's a battle tested coin. And I think those are the best in my experience. Those are some of the best coins to bid. Like when they've gone through their kind of mini market cycles within a bull market.
Yeah.
Like Zyn has survived multiple 80% drawdowns. Like we got through that cease and desist. We've gone through months and months of accumulation where you've got people that aren't patient selling to the people that are.
Yep.
And those people that are eating up that supply, they're not holding for a 5x. They're not holding for maybe even a 10x. Like they're looking for generational wealth opportunities, 50x, 100x's and beyond. So that's why I think Zyn is perfectly positioned. Being on Ethereum, Solana, and Base, got all those covered. And you've got tons of organic conviction from a handful of people at the bottom. And this is kind of like a low float stock now. Like
Yeah.
it's perfectly positioned to make a massive run. So Zen to a 10 makes so much sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
$5.
Two thing I like it. I mean, that's what I'm holding for. I'm not holding for 3x. I mean, that there's two things I wanted to touch on. The first is, and I think I talked about this a few episodes ago, in the current macro environment, we've got the Fed's fight with inflation. If you live in the United States, other countries as well, but primarily the United States, costs are high. Young people can't afford homes. I don't think the job market's doing, as well as they would want everybody to believe. I know that actually, just based on
Yeah.
people I talk to. How much of that do you think kind of factors into, and I won't call it recklessness because I think people are very kind of pragmatic about it. It's like I could buy, let's just say I have 10K. I could buy Bitcoin, and yeah, maybe in 10, 20 years, that's a meaningful amount of money. Or I could pick a meme coin and potentially make $250,000.
Right. Right.
How much, do you think that kind of societal trend is playing into like this meme coin meta? I don't think we're seeing it as much in the stock market now as we did like during COVID when we were printing money. But I do think that is part of the reason the meme coin meta is so persistent right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's tongue in cheek kind of late stage capitalism things and
Totally.
financial
Yeah,
financial
totally.
nihilism. I see that thrown around on crypto Twitter sometimes. But then I put myself in the shoes of somebody that like is, let's say, 28 years old, or they're in their early 30s, and they have a day job, they're barely getting by, and it's hard to save money. They've got a ton of debt. Are meme coins an outlet, or do they see like a potential there where, hey, I could take 5 grand, or I could see, you know, turn that into 50 to 100. I just saw some guy on Twitter like post that he did that. So it's like this, I don't know if that's like a good thing or bad thing. It just
Yeah.
kind of is what is happening. Like I'm not I'm not going to go advocate and say, hey, if you have $10,000 in spare cash like to your name, like definitely throw it into meme
Put it
coins. I'm
all
not
on
gonna,
memes.
yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Like because
No, I wouldn't say that either.
yeah, it
Yeah.
just depends on your situation. But like that's how the market is seeing memes, and that's
Mhm.
how crypto Twitter is seeing memes, and I don't think that's going to change um, as people turn and start to speculate. Once, let's say, Bitcoin cracks all time highs and you get that like late cycle bull froth,
Yeah.
So I think like crypto is still largely PvP right now. I would say I think it's trending more toward a PvE kind of environment. Um, that last the last 8-12 months of a bull market is when you get that massive inflow of retail. Um, and like we talked about before, it's so much easier to get into the trenches and download a moonshot or go on to pump.fun, right?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of pump.fun kind of gamified, like
Totally. Yeah.
trading and memes and stuff too. Like it's almost a game. Like people are live streaming it, like betting on various memes and seeing which ones make it. Like, because there's thousands of them being
Yeah.
put
There's
out a
so
day,
many.
right?
Yeah.
So I think like they're all going to go so much higher than people think. I think it's going to make 2021 alt pumps look like child's play by the end of this cycle, like for sure. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
That
we'll
kind
see how it plays out, but
that kind of leads into the follow up I had. So like this year for me. I mean, I have conviction. I'm same class as you. I've been in since 2017. A trader I used to work with was like, "Hey, man, you got to check out Bitcoin." I read the Bitcoin Standard. I bought some. In the beginning, I foolishly tried to trade it and quickly
hmm
learned my lesson there and just started DCAing. Then I got into Ethereum, then Chainlink, which has been underwhelming, but. Um, yeah, I think like as far as this year goes, it's definitely been frustrating even for seasoned holders of blue chips, I should say.
yeah,
Uh and I mean my read on the situation, and I could be wrong, but my read is based on the amount of institutional involvement, all of the inflows in the ETFs. I mean, like we look at BlackRock, I think they put out the updated numbers today for how many BlackRock's buying. This in my opinion, this is like a shakeout of boredom. Like this is seeing like who
yeah.
can actually hold this stuff long enough for when price manifests where it should be. Because if you look at all that institutional news, all that data, the buying pressure, I think Bitcoin hits 100K much sooner than people think. Like I agree with you. I think we're probably coming up on the beginning of this bull cycle. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, beginning, I would say like, I mean, 100K Bitcoin is, that's what 50% from here, less than that, like from where we're at right now, which
It's
is
not
crazy.
much. Yeah.
It's not much. So like the normalization of Bitcoin and the larger majors like Ethereum, even Solana at this point, is definitely interesting. Like I think it's only gonna um, continue to be like a positive. Um, it's gonna lead to more inflows into crypto. Now, where those go is probably meme coins to start, but I wouldn't want to be caught at the tail end of that
Yeah.
because it probably won't play out well for most of those. Now, what I was thinking, actually earlier, like today, I was just thinking like the way that I started my crypto journey was like you start with Bitcoin and then you go from Bitcoin and then you go to Ethereum.
Mhm.
And then you're like, okay, cool. There's a whole ecosystem on Ethereum. Let me check those out. That leads you to Chainlink or that leads you to Uniswap or utility tokens. And then you go from utility tokens and then you go like down the rabbit hole of meme coins or something, right? Or
Mhm.
DPIN or all these other avenues. So I feel like on a macro scale, that's probably how it's going to play out with these massive funds and brokers that are like getting into crypto. Like Bitcoin ETF was obviously it was going to be the first one,
Yep.
and they're probably just going to do the same thing, on a bigger scale. They're going to like start with Bitcoin, then they're going to go down the list of like what are the largest coins by market cap, and they're just going to keep going down the list, and they're going to look at Ethereum, and then Ethereum is going to become more institutionalized. Then they're going to look at Solana, and then they're going to do the same thing. I think there's going to be tons of crypto ETFs in the future.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
don't see why not, especially if we get Gary Gensler on there.
Yeah.
So guys that are just people that are so anti crypto, like let's we got to get those people out. But anyway, so to answer your question, I think the institutionalization of crypto assets is a great thing. I think Bitcoin was going to be first, and I think Ethereum is going to be next, and they're going to keep going down, just like you and I did when we got into the industry. It just makes sense. Like they're not going to skip. Ethereum and go right to, Solana. Maybe they do.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of people pushing for that, but Ethereum and Solana have different use cases too. So you
Yep.
could see an Ethereum ETF, and then you could see corporations start to adopt like Solana more so for e-commerce reasons, or because transaction throughput is much higher. So
Yep.
um, it's just really like the sky is the limit, and we just need people that are willing to like figure this stuff out legally and do it right, and not be roadblocks to this industry that's kind of becoming more institutionalized.
Yeah, absolutely. Without, I mean, and then I would just kind of add on to that without getting too political. I mean, my sentiment seems to be if we have a Trump win, if there's a perceived Trump win coming, and the odds have drastically shifted, I think, in the last week or two, at least on Polymarket,
Yeah.
that most people perceive that to be like blow off top territory. Like if that happens, like we're absolutely pumping.
Hmm.
If Kamala wins, maybe it's delayed, maybe there's an initial correction depending on, which officials we see her put in different positions if they retain Gensler. Is that kind of your sense as well? I mean, for me, it brings me a little bit of dread because I don't necessarily want to be in the business of trying to call that before election night and having to
Yeah.
cut bags or reposition based on that. But is that kind of your read of the room right now, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think so. I saw an interesting chart today where it was like as the correlation, it was a close correlation between Trump's odds increasing and the price of Bitcoin in the last
Yeah,
couple of weeks.
that makes
So
sense. Yeah.
yeah, it makes complete sense because he's been much more favorable to crypto
Hmm.
outwardly than Kamala and her administration, and just I mean she's a part of the Biden administration currently, and they haven't done a whole lot to help crypto either. So
Yeah, true.
yeah, I think that's getting priced in. So if Trump wins, I think there could be a blow off top scenario, and then a correction, which will largely kind of it'll be fine. I don't think it'll be volatile, but I think it'll be fine. And if Kamala wins, it's probably like a nothing burger slash down. Um, you know, so I think the political season like adds fuel to the fire, and
Definitely.
basically in volatility sense. But yeah, I think like looking at out 2 3 years, I think the rate of adoption will probably continue the way that it is, maybe slightly more if Trump is in, and slightly less if Kamala is in. But I kind of think it'll be relatively stable at this point because yeah, those people move markets a little bit, but BlackRock really moves markets, and Larry Fink really
Yep.
move markets, and they've got bags of this stuff now. So I'm pretty sure they're going to want to jack that price up at some point.
Yeah. Larry
Just my
Zink.
left curve take.
Yeah, Larry Zink, the king. Um, so one kind of a curveball. One thing I wanted to ask you, like I've seen on your X, you're big into fitness, you're a big runner. You mentioned you're Christian. How much initially attract like when we look at crypto and we look at Bitcoin specifically, what was like the initial attraction to you? Because for me, the biggest thing I would say is that it represents sovereignty. It is, in my opinion, a little bit of an act of rebellion against TradFi systems, the existing infrastructure that we see in financial markets. The biggest thing for me is just having control and ownership directly over my assets.
Yep.
Obviously, beating inflation's a huge part of it, but how do you kind of see that relating to like your lifestyle and like the things that you value? Like you work in crypto, you're independent, you want to be kind of at the bleeding edge of technology. Like, do you see those two things kind of converging? Like, how does that kind of factor into your like world outlook?
Yeah, love that question. Because it's been an interesting journey. Because crypto can be, as you probably know, it can be all consuming, man. Like it's
Yeah.
a 24/7 nonstop. And even in cycles past, like when I wasn't the founder of a meme coin, um, just being able to like trade constantly or find the next trade, what's coming next, what's the next meta,
Hmm.
it can be pretty consuming. But and I originally got in to crypto because number one, the speculation was, I was like, well, this is crazy. Like all these, like in 2017, I was watching people make tons of money and other stuff. And that was part of it. Then I started to learn more about Bitcoin and the sovereignty and the hard money and and just you go down that hole and you're like, okay, like this makes a lot of sense. Oh wow, our government really is pretty corrupt. Like the
Yeah.
things they've done to the money supply, not very good, and that was 2017, like pre-COVID era, um, pre-pumping trillions of dollars into the money market supply.
It's
You
gotten
know,
much
it,
it's gotten much
it's
better.
gotten so much better, right? And like all those things that I thought about back then, if I hadn't learned about Bitcoin, specifically just Bitcoin,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have paid attention to any of it. I
Mhm.
would just be out there like living my life, not wondering like, why have things gotten so expensive? Like, why does my dollar not go as far? Like, and thankfully, I went down that rabbit hole, and it became a lot more clear. So then I spent a lot more time in previous cycles trying to quote unquote like make it, right? Because I
Yeah.
felt like my back was against the wall. I have a family, I have kids. This is before I had kids, but I kind of saw the writing on the wall. It was like, hey, if the government's not going to bail me out, they're not going to help me out. I'm not going to. If money supply is going to continue to increase, inflation's going to increase. It's not looking good. So
Yeah.
what can I do to try and like get my family and myself to be financially free? Um,
Mhm.
and this market is one of the last kind of markets where I feel like you can really do that. Um, and that didn't come without its challenges. Like I was pretty all consumed by the stuff last cycle and had to sit down and like just kind of reevaluate. I was getting pretty burnt out,
Yeah.
and thinking like I have to find a better balance here. Um, and then starting ZynCoin, little did I know that was going to be like even even more consuming, but in a different way.
Get back
It's a
into it.
lot
Yeah.
cooler to be a part of something that's bigger than just me and my portfolio or something. I've had so many messages of people that reached out to me and that maybe they bought ZynCoin at launch and like sold it and bought a house or something. Like I've had
Wow.
so many people reach out to me and be like, "Hey, man, this changed my life,"
That's
and
crazy.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So all that to say, at this point, like I wanted this project to be different in many ways, and I think it has reached a lot of people. And it's not just like everything else out there. We've got a great group of people that are involved heavily in it, a great community of people, and we're trying to be different and trying to do different things that align with my lifestyle and the things that I care about, and whether that's family time, and just like being financially free. I want people to be able to like find that.
Yeah.
So to have ZynCoin be able to do that for people is awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing,
Yeah.
man. It's truly based in Chad pilled for sure. Gigapilled, some might say. Um, cool, man. Well, looking ahead, what is your vision for ZynCoin beyond just a meme token? Do you see Zyn evolving into a larger movement or ecosystem in the crypto space? And I guess what's next for you personally in the world of crypto and blockchain?
Yeah, I mean, I think the sky's the limit, and we're just now seeing what happens when people start to understand the thesis of this coin, and the community that we have. Comfy is going to be a huge part of it because it brings the it brings a kind of obscure crypto world into a real life consumer product, that people can use. And I want to create that. I want Comfy to be a lifestyle brand. Um, with merch and customizable products, in real life meetups.
Nice.
I think that's going to be that's the roadmap for that. I don't want this to be a flash in the pan. And
Yeah.
just the fact that this project has been through so much, I think, is a testament to the fact that neither do a lot of others, which is cool to see. So I think all that is possible. It hasn't really been done yet. There's some other project. There are other projects working on it. Like I remember Steppen was
Yeah.
something last cycle that they were trying to kind of combine like fitness and tokens and stuff like that. I think, that was really cool. I used that as a ultra runner myself. That was pretty neat.
Oh, nice.
Um, but Yeah, like I think the potential is there. We've got the right people involved, and we've got time. Like I've learned to be patient over the last, well, I guess it's been what 7 years in crypto.
Yeah.
And you learn to be patient, and not everything happens all at once. And hey, when there's roadblocks, you get through them. But we've got a really cool roadmap ahead. I think Comfy is going to be awesome, and I hope people like it. So whenever that comes out, that'll be all over my Twitter and be pushing that, and hopefully the feedback is good from it.
Beautiful. That's amazing. Well, Colton, I appreciate you joining us on the Risk On podcast.
Absolutely, man. It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be watching the price action tonight, no doubt. I'll plug Colton's socials in the episode bio so you guys can find him on X and other platforms. If you're interested in procuring some ZynCoin, I will also share that link. We'll be back next week with some election updates and new forecasts. If you guys enjoyed this episode, don't forget to leave a review. Until then, stay sharp and take care, guys.